or call 9520-RES and set up a free in-home consultation. Z Floors by Zero Res.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with MetamorphosisConnections.com. MetamorphosisConnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search MetamorphosisConnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on MetamorphosisConnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting MetamorphosisConnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's MetamorphosisConnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clearing skies tonight with a low of 37, then sunshine Wednesday with a high of 58. Hell is empty and all the devils are here again offers a much-needed communal laugh and is in the spirit of radical inclusion. Performances are at the Luminary Arts Center in Minneapolis now until November 18th. Get your tickets at interactcenterarts.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story. This is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And tonight we're going to have a good program. I've brought in, and we're just going to get to it. I have nothing to tell anyone tonight, but I do have a question for our guest tonight as we start here. Tonight, we're bringing back on GhostBox Radio favorite Ernie Pack. We are very excited to have you on again. We being the royal we, of course, Ernie. Yeah. And there's no one else, trust me. Once again, you see there's no Adam here. But tonight we're gonna get through some pleasantries, but then I want to explain why I asked Ernie on tonight and some of the stuff we're going to be talking about. How are you tonight, Ernie?
Doing well. I'm glad to be here, as always.
Sorry, I didn't believe that for a second.
It was the best acting I could do right now.
I almost missed the start of the show because we were like making kissy faces to each other the whole time up until it. You're gonna get me fired.
Well, sorry, but it's just that's how it is, man.
It is how it is, and even Denise, she's unconvinced by the terminology I used when I said favorite. You really don't have a lot of support in your life, do you?
No, I really don't. I'm kind of on an island. Yep, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, well, you just celebrated a birthday, right?
Yep, 27.
So you're 70 what now?
27.
Yep. And Denise actually got in touch with me, and she wanted me to pop out of a cake for you down in Kentucky, and just do a little bit of the happy birthday, Ernie Pack. Huh?
No,
you're shaking your head and like you love it. I like it.
No, it's not going to happen. George Chaplin sent me a voice message yesterday with him doing his best Marilyn Monroe singing happy birthday. And I still haven't recovered from that.
Right. Well, and I mean, that's just it. I mean, just everyone wants to wish you the best. I mean, that's very kind. And so Brad also brings up a cake. I mean, people don't forget things, do they? A cake made out of chunky candy bars.
It was Denise is the one that ate your chunky. I would not eat a chunky bar.
Well, I
No.
mean, regardless, it was gone. I mean,
Well, Denise did it.
Yeah. Well, it's just unfortunate.
It's her fault.
It's. I mean, I wish I could have recovered from this. I haven't yet, but that's okay. That's okay.
Make another trip down here and get you another one. They've got them right over here at the store.
Right.
As you're well aware.
Brad's like, can't forget that because that was my grandma's favorite. Wow. I mean, that's good for her. I mean, honestly, I remember it's not an easy candy bar to eat. Denise, your wife, your supportive wife says Ernie is a liar. Does he ever tell the truth?
I would not eat a chunky bar. What is in a chunky bar?
Chocolate
and
raisins.
There you go.
Goodness. Yeah. Well, whatever. But the point is that you literally have no support in literally.
I don't. I really don't.
No. So let's start off with some very important questions. Okay.
Okay.
A tomato. Is it a fruit or is it a vegetable?
Yes.
Yeah, no wonder why no one likes you. You don't have a point of view.
I really don't. I like tomatoes. I don't typically like vegetables, but
That's
you know, V8 would imply 8 vegetables, and it is based in tomato juice. So I'm gonna final answer, vegetable.
Now here's the funny thing about it. You said that you don't like vegetables, but you said you like tomatoes. So in a sense, you almost said it's a fruit as well.
I was leaning that way, and then I thought about the V8. You know.
Yeah. No, I get it. And you know, for those tuning in, wondering if this, you know, wanted to get a serious radio show, that seems to not really be happening at the moment. We're getting there. We're going to get this out of the way. I had dinner tonight with some wonderful people, and we had a discussion whether or not it's a tomato or a vegetable. And so the room is divided.
Whether it's a tomato or a vegetable. That's what
you know what I meant. A fruit or vegetable. I'm reading through the comments. You know, Ernie, I have a lot of stuff going on here while you're just sitting there drinking Coke and
right.
You know, looking beautiful, I might add.
As always.
I think that you know, some of us have a lot of other things going on here, you know, try to keep the station on the air. And it's not easy when it's not a very good show. So
let's have a good show.
We got Ernie on tonight for a real interesting reason. Actually, it's not here just so that we can throw barbs at each other, and we've known each other long enough to have fun with that. But you know, everyone's heard me say a number of times, a billion times, that I've been out this early June this year. A bunch of us went out to visit Ernie and Denise at West Point, Kentucky. It was a fantastic, mind-blowing, just life-changing event. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting was that when we were driving, and Ernie chauffeured us around all over the place, and we drove past Fort Knox, not very far at all from where Denise and Ernie are in West Point. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, Ernie, Fort Duffield, which is it fair to say that you and Denise manage? Wonderful haunted location, and more than just a haunted location. Buddy's right up to Fort Knox, and literally driving past it, we got to see the little small building, which is the gold repository. But you were saying some stuff, and I thought it was very interesting. And so I brought Ernie on tonight to talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to be very honest. You know, Ernie is not an expert on this. It's very conversational, but it was so interesting just talking about it and just throwing it around that I just thought we could talk about that as a starting point for the program and talk about some other stuff as well. Because it was really cool, because Ernie, you've been in Have you been in Louisville your whole life?
Yeah, I was born and raised here, and have made many trips down 31W through Fort Knox and
Okay.
past the Gold Vault there.
Were you did you grow up around the West Point area, or you were just very
About
familiar with?
about 15, 20 minutes up the highway.
Okay.
Closer to Waverly Hills, which is just 20 minutes north on 31W from where we're at
Okay.
right now.
You know, it's interesting. It's interesting about when we drove past, and I think we drove past it like twice or something like that. It just, I mean, it's probably just like old news for you because you live in the area. For me, it was very cool because I'm thinking to myself stuff like Goldfinger. I'm just, you just know all about, this place, and I've seen a lot of documentaries. And you and I had that conversation in the car that it's from what I've heard, at least from watching documentaries and stuff, that there probably isn't really any gold in there at all anymore, is there?
That seems to be the predominant belief. Now, I have seen video in older documentaries where they go down this elevator, like a big freight elevator.
Yeah.
It opens up and you see just stacks and stacks of gold bars. But now I think the conventional thought is that it's more of a diversion from where if such a stash of gold still exists in the United States Treasury, it's probably not there. That's what everyone seems to think nowadays, but I have no way of knowing. And, I don't even think that the people that work there could tell you the answer to that, or they might be killed.
Well, and that's it. And to your point, you're not even being funny about that, are you? I mean, the fact
No.
of the matter is that security is just absolutely just incredible. And to the point that Denise had put into the comments, ask him about security and hitting a golf ball onto the property. And
Yeah.
so I remember that story. Why don't, if you'd like, share it with everybody, please.
Yeah, there's a golf course that wraps right along one of the hole, or a couple of holes run right along the perimeter fence for the Gold Vault.
Yeah.
And I typically slice the ball when I hit a bad shot. But on this particular day, I hit a duck hook that went over, bounced just through the chain link fence. I mean, 3 or 4 feet on the other side of the fence. There's actually 2 or 3 rows of fences there. You got like a fence, a gap, then another fence, and then another fence, I believe. And so I got down on my knee. It was a Titleist. It was like a $4 back then. It was like a $4 or $5 golf ball.
Mhm.
They're probably 8 or 9 now. I don't know, but I'm down on my knees with a golf club, and I stick it through the fence to retrieve my golf ball, and it's like the voice of God. I mean, this sound comes from all around me. Don't even think about it. Off the property. And I'm like, okay, so I just left my golf ball. I got back up and I took my drop and went on and felt scared the rest of the day. But what everyone says about the Gold Vault is that, the building that you see is basically the top of an elevator shaft.
Yeah.
That goes very far underground and then has legs that go out in every direction from there. And there's no telling what's down in those vaults, really.
It may not be too terribly far from what Goldfinger, what they kind of imagined and stuff.
Honestly, yeah. I mean
it's interesting too, because it's like I hold the belief that the United States, and I know this isn't necessarily paranormal conversation, but I hold the belief that the United States does not have a gold economy at all anymore. That we're not based, our dollar is not based off of gold, which is true. It's actually not based off of gold anymore, but we do not have gold like we used to. And if any gold is in the country, we're holding for other countries.
Right. Yeah, I firmly believe that. I mean, I don't know what they're printing money based on these days, but I don't think we're on the gold standard by any means at all.
Well, it hadn't we been moved from the gold standard some time ago anyway? I mean, we're not even.
But that is basically what the U.S.'s wealth, if you can call it that, was based on to begin with.
Absolutely. Do you want me to hold on while you open your 75th can of Coke today, or okay?
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
All right. I'd hate to have the interview intrude on that. So, and I'm as fiery because look at this. Joanne, this is not what I wanted to put up. Joanne put on there, "Hi, Ernie and Denise. Is my camera not working today? Can you people not see me? Where's my hello?" Anyway.
We all know why these guests are here. It's for me and Denise. It's not for you.
Yeah, that's probably fair, actually. Why don't we go ahead and do this? Because there's some more stuff we want to talk about with Fort Knox. And also, folks, put into the comments if there's something that you want to talk about. If you want to have any sort of questions for Ernie that do not have anything to do with biscuits or gravy, that do not have anything to do with anything else. So let's go ahead. Just go to take that break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation, and it's going to be a good one. You're listening to GhostBox Radio with AM 950.
Feeling like people just don't get the vibrant rainbow unicorn that is your celestial essence? Have you been wondering how you stepped into this infernal, mundane timeline full of muggles, NPCs, and toilet paper shortages? Here at Magus Books and Herbs, we get you, and are staffed with real-life unicorns just waiting to help you rediscover your shine. So come explore your magical side with books, herbs, incense classes, and more at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis or online at magusbooks.com.
Nightingale is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood restaurant in the Whittier neighborhood at 26th and Lindale. Nightingale has patio, dining room, and bar seating available. Plus, they still have takeout and delivery. Their menu has lots of delicious options like the famous Nightingale burger and fries, ginger tamari chicken wings, smoked chicken liver pate, and more. They're open from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. daily with their full menu until midnight. So make the friendly neighborhood Nightingale your go-to restaurant in South Minneapolis. Place an order, make a reservation, and more at nightingalempls.com.
If you own a holistic or metaphysical business and are looking to expand, then you need to be listed on metamorphosisconnections.com. It's a network where you can grow with like-minded practitioners and reach new clients. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory you need to list yourself and your business. Our platform makes it easy for you to create listings of your products and services, and you can also choose to list your classes, events, and so much more. Metamorphosisconnections.com helps you create weekly and monthly promotional ads targeted towards your potential clients and promotes them for you via social media and newsletter. There are clients searching for your specialty right now. Let us help them find you. Start your listing today so you can share your own unique gifts and talents by finding the level of membership that best fits your needs. Let us help you reach your clients that are searching for what you do. Visit metamorphosisconnections.com and sign up today.
Hello, I'm Jody, also known as Witch Jody on social media. I opened Midwest Witchery and Healing in historic Stillwater because as a nurse, I love to help others. When you come and visit Midwest Witchery and Healing, you will find everything from divination and magical services, classes to ritual tools, jewelries, handcrafted candles, witchy gear, and much more. My store is a safe environment for all on their own unique path. Look for the purple door. Find out more at MidwestWitcheryHealing.com.
And if you have a chance, please go visit my website, GhostBoxRadio.com. That is a great way to listen to past episodes. It is also a way to check out the GhostBox Book Club. All of our authors that we have on the program, we put their books up there, and you can go use the Amazon affiliate link to get books through the site. So if you just want to see all the authors we've had on the program, you can go there, check it out. And if you buy through that link, we get a little money back. I mean, not much, but every little bit helps, and we'd really appreciate it. So please go ahead and check that out. That would be fantastic. We are currently talking to Mr. Ernie Pack. We've been talking about his birthday. That was a riveting subject. And then also talk a little bit about Fort Knox. I have to ask, though, before we get back to Fort Knox, did you do anything really cool and good for your birthday? It was a good birthday.
I used a circular saw.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Denise had me working, basically.
Yeah.
She is a slave driver, and so I was here at the house working.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It should be.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Apparently you got to clean and rearrange furniture.
Yeah.
Were you able to not hurt yourself? Because I worried for your safety.
Yeah, I actually came back with all my fingers, no scars, no bleeding. Everything worked out just fine.
Yeah. Well, and I guarantee if I were to do it, I'd probably have like at least one less arm or something like that. So
Yeah.
hats off to you. We've been talking about Fort Knox and and I just remember when we drove past there, and maybe it's just my imagination, I just felt like they could scan us or something as we're driving on the freeway going past. Is that silly, or do you really think that they're pretty serious over there?
That is the most secure. I've been to the United States Capitol. I've been by the White House, and I don't get the same sense of security.
Mm-hmm.
Intense security precautions as you get around the area of the Gold Vault. It just seems you feel like you've got 1,000 eyes on you around there.
Truly.
And I just came. I mean, just 5 minutes before the show started, I came by the Gold Vault, and this is something that someone else pointed out to me. I'd driven by it 1,000 times and never even thought about it. One of my friends said, what's really cool about it is when you drive by it at night, the building is invisible. And I never thought about that. And I looked at it again tonight. Yeah, you cannot see the building at night. It just sits up there on that little knoll. It's a white stone building. And, you would think, well, you can see it. But the way that they've got their perimeter lighting done, you cannot see the building at night. Denise always says she can see it, but
does
whatever.
she like you?
No.
I mean,
no,
honestly, maybe it's time to finally get to the nub of it. Does Denise actually like you at all?
Well, that's up for debate.
You could say the sky is blue, and she would come on the comments and say that it is absolutely not blue. Ernie doesn't know what a color is.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and just so you know, Ernie, and I'm just saying, I was married to somebody who would kind of do that sort of thing too. That was a while ago. So, so the difference is I like Denise. So, we have that going. So yeah, I mean, there is truly something very on a different level there, which I'm sure it's maybe not too far off from like what Area 51 in a sense. I mean, they're both bases.
Right. I mean, yeah, it is. A lot of people think of Fort Knox, and all they think about, they don't even realize that it's a U.S. Army base.
Yeah.
That covers thousands of acres. They think about that gold vault that they saw on Goldfinger, or that they've heard so much about. But It is a huge military facility. It used to be the home of armor for the United States Army.
Wow.
And it's where all the tank training and everything was done for many years.
And we're kind of talking before the program, were they taking they kept taking up land, right? They kept they start off that way and just like took a big chunk.
They just took a big chunk of Kentucky and said, this is now a U.S. military reservation. And there are many small towns that were just engulfed. And, the people who lived there were forced to move out. And so there were ghost towns, and probably still are a few ghost towns scattered around through the property. Because like I say, it's thousands and thousands of acres. And I mean, there's cemeteries, there's you name it. I mean, there's whole towns. And
would it be possible that some of those cemeteries could possibly hold some of the soldiers and stuff that, or from anybody who's around the Fort Duffield area?
I'm sure that there are people who were from West Point in general, and probably some who served at Fort Duffield that are in some of those cemeteries. One of the cemeteries is actually just off of Fort Duffield property, just across the reservation boundary, up behind Fort Duffield, that you aren't supposed to be able to get to, but I know people who have been to that cemetery and they say it's a really cool old cemetery that I need to check out someday.
At your own risk, right?
I could get shot. I mean, it is right next to a range, so it would probably be the last ghost hunt I ever went on.
Well, that's just it. I mean, it's like there's times where you have to. I mean, that stuff could really happen. I mean, you're playing, and like even like when we were driving, and I said that it felt like everyone was watching us. To even joke in the car. Well, we think we're by ourselves saying, boy, we should go in and steal all the gold. And they're like joking or something. I didn't feel like it's safe enough to joke that like they could hear. I mean, it feels silly to say, but I've never felt like that around anywhere before. Yeah,
it's true. I mean, like Denise says, cell signals get jammed. There's a tactical training area for helicopters right down at the end of town on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get in that area, your cell signal gets jammed, internet is out, nothing. And it's that's how it has to be for, military.
Absolutely.
I don't have a problem with it. It's a little bit eerie sometimes.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked to see Google, like, the overhead view that Google does? Is that all? Have you noticed if you ever checked, is it blocked out when you get
I have not looked on Google, but we've got a big map down at City Hall. I work for the city of West Point. And, we're surrounded by Fort Knox, like we've kind of alluded to.
Mm-hmm.
And there are areas of the big overhead photo of town that are just blocked off that you can't see. Now, I don't know if that's just because that's not actually part of town or if it's because that's military and they don't want us to see what's down there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like that seems to be very much a military thing, and maybe I just want it to be because that'd be so much cooler.
It'd be way cooler, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It would be way cooler. So one of the things that you were talking about when we were doing the drive was about this plane crash.
Yes.
Oh, could you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, it was in the 50s. I can't remember the exact year, but there was a UFO report that went out over military radio. It was seen on military radar. A pilot was scrambled from Godman Field at Fort Knox. A guy by the name of, he was a captain, Thomas Mantell.
Mm-hmm.
And he was giving chase. And I can't remember the details, but there were some radio transmissions like he had seen it and he was trying to catch up to it. And then they lost him on the radio, lost him on radar, and his plane had crashed near Octagon Hall, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in Franklin, Kentucky, right down 31W. I mean, Godman Field, the airstrip for Godman Field is right next to 31W down here 15 minutes from where I'm at. And if you go on down 31W another 2 hours, you'll get to Octagon Hall.
Yep.
But he had made a circuitous route. You know, he was in the air for quite a while. but wound up crashing down there near Octagon Hall in Franklin, Kentucky. And there was speculation that his plane was shot down by the UFO. There was speculation that maybe he just ran out of fuel or had some kind of mechanical issue with the plane. No one really knows the exact cause of that crash. It's still a bit of a mystery and still kind of part of the UFO lore of the country, really.
Yeah.
But that's where he had taken off from.
I see.
There's no way. It was 10 minutes ago when I poured that thing.
So Ernie's biggest supporter is making comments on the show. If you want to have a good laugh, folks, if you're listening to the radio, go to GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun on Facebook, and you can watch the live stream of it, and you can see how many people really like Ernie. Well, it's really just your wife that's kind of derailing you, isn't it?
Yeah. Everyone else is really supportive.
I mean,
fortunately,
relatively. What about in general? Like, have you seen? We can certainly go back into the Bigfoot conversation if we want. I mean, we know that's a squatches are very prevalent in the area of Fort Duffield and really anywhere else, I think, in that area. But what about stuff in the sky? I know Denise says that she has seen Blackhawks fly over your house all the time.
Yeah.
But what about have you seen anything that is just a little bit you're uncertain of what that is?
Yeah, I had a group up there. I believe it was Labor Day weekend at Fort Duffield on a private overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually had the trifecta of paranormal happen that night. The entire group, there were 6 of us standing there watching as a Bigfoot walked from, you'll know from having been there, Greg, behind where those benches are.
Yep.
By the 2 cabins.
Yep.
Walked out of the trees back behind that and all the way across the fort. And we all watched it. Of course, no one took a picture. We were all just kind of standing there with our mouths agape.
Yeah.
As is that story too, because you've had a similar experience there.
Absolutely.
But we had spirit activity. I caught a great picture of what looks like a lady in white that we had seen up there. And we're sitting down in the readout, had a campfire going, sitting there talking. And one of the guys looks up and says, "What the heck is that?" And we all saw this. It was a bluish white light, bigger than a star, that was just kind of hovering. And then it would make like a little, almost like a U-shaped move, and then go back to its original position. And then it just kind of drifted off behind the trees and out of sight. And, that's not a typical maneuver for anything. And it was not a helicopter. We would have heard it, even a military helicopter. I mean, because we have them all over the skies around here all the time. I've not seen anything like that before.
I want to first say that is really cool. Secondly, I want to also address, when you said that you hadn't taken any pictures. And, one of the things that I think I really learned from you and Denise, which I think is very valuable, is pictures are fine. Pictures are cool, but you can't let it stop you from experiencing the moment. And, the way that correct me if I'm paraphrasing this incorrectly, but, I think Denise had said something along the lines that you guys have so much activity, so much going on. You all know what you've experienced. You all know what you've seen. If the picture is only there to exist to just show other people what you experienced, like they're going to have to believe because of the picture. That's not what you're in it for. That's not what you're doing it for. You're doing it for your own experiences. The pictures sound like they're very secondary.
Absolutely. And like Denise just said in the comments, I think the reason why we have more experiences is because we're not so worried about the equipment.
Yeah.
We're not focused on equipment. We're focused on the atmosphere, the room around us, the what's going on that we can visually see or physically feel or smell or whatever. And so we don't miss when something does happen because our eyes are always open and they're scanning the area instead of looking at a piece of equipment or looking at a screen, anything like that.
Yeah.
And or looking through a viewfinder, whatever. And I mean, we've talked about it before. You can get the holy grail of photographic or video evidence. And if someone doesn't want to believe it, they're not going to believe it. True. In today's age of AI and CGI and everything else, it's easy to fake a photo or a video. Anybody can do it. It's all over the internet now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many, look at this amazing Bigfoot photo that, things like that have come out just in the last few months that are nothing but fakes. And so, even if you catch something legit, people are not going to believe you. So why bother focusing on that type of documentation? Just experience it.
No, that's very true. And, I think it's also fair, like our experience that we all shared at Fort Duffield with our Squatch that we had seen. And, we could show it a picture, but that doesn't really do anything because I think what's super cool about it, let alone seeing this entity,
right?
We had a shared experience of 4 of us seeing it at the same time, not like, oh, hey, look, did you see it? Look over there. We all independently are like, look, and pointing at it. There's just something about that almost makes that even more exciting than what we saw in some ways, because it's just that wonderful shared experience that validates for each of us, I think,
that experience is 100% genuine.
Yeah.
And it I mean, people can question the 4 of us, but the 4 of us know what we saw, know what we experienced. And that can't be taken from us, no matter how many people, online or, wherever, over the phone or on the radio or in the chat, whatever, say, oh, you're crazy or you're blowing smoke, whatever. I know what happened. And that's all that really matters.
It truly is. Ernie, why don't we go ahead and do this? I'm going to take another break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's going on over at Fort Duffield. We're going to talk about some other stuff that Ernie and Denise are cooking up. And we're going to finish our conversation about Fort Knox. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
Magus Books, your multicultural spiritual supply store. Stop in and expand your horizons with books, classes, readings, and supplies at magusbooks.com or in our shop at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis. From the best incense to beautiful statues, we have supplies and books for your spiritual explorations. Come in and chat with our knowledgeable staff and get what you need for your next adventure, whether you're fighting ghosts or opening your third eye. Check us out today at magusbooks.com.
If you go to shoprainbowrd.com, you will find an amazing variety of adult novelties, literally thousands of items that you can peruse in the privacy of your home and have shipped to your door. Plus, in the store, you can find swimwear, casual wear, underwear, everywhere. Rainbow Road is located at 109 West Grand Street near Loring Park. Gift cards are available for the hard to shop for. Go to shoprainbowrd.com.
Hello, I'm Jody, also known as Witch Jody on social media. I opened Midwest Witchery and Healing in historic Stillwater because as a nurse, I love to help others. When you come and visit Midwest Witchery and Healing, you will find everything from divination and magical services, classes to ritual tools, jewelries, handcrafted candles, witchy gear, and much more. My store is a safe environment for all on their own unique path. Look for the purple door. Find out more at MidwestWitcheryHealing.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clearing skies tonight with a low of 37, then sunshine Wednesday with a high of 58. Vinaigrette can add the perfect complement to your next home-cooked meal. Taste test their wide selection of oils and vinegars, and they'll bottle it for you right on the spot. Vinaigrette is located at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Check them out at vinaigrettemn.com.
And join us tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. Our guests will be Reverend Brianna Lee, interfaith minister, Wiccan priest, Reiki master, and she's going to talk with us about interfaith exorcism. I am very much looking forward to this conversation. We've been talking about doing this for a while. She has a lot she wants to talk about. I know already there's no way we're going to get through all of it tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to having multiple conversations with her about it. She's really, really an incredible speaker, and I'm looking very much forward to it. We're having a great conversation tonight. I know I like to rib Ernie quite a bit, and he tries to do it back and fails miserably every time. But it is really nice always to have you on, Ernie. I really appreciate it. And, I didn't actually wish you a happy birthday ever. So happy birthday.
Well, thank you, Greg.
When was that again? That was Sunday, Monday, Saturday?
That was Monday.
Okay.
Monday the 13th.
Monday the 13th. Wow. That's awesome. Happy to hear it. Happy you're with us another year.
Yeah. At my age, you never know when the last one's gonna be.
I think I no bets that you're going to make it to the end of the episode. So, I mean, we'll kind of see what happens here. We've been talking about Fort Knox, and even though you're like, I don't know what we're going to really talk about here, we kind of made it through a lot of the show tonight talking about it. I think it's very fascinating. You're just in such a unique area, and really high vibrational area. You got to wonder. I don't expect you to know this, but it just kind of came to my mind. Do you know why the government chose that area to do Fort Knox? I mean, did it have anything to do with Duffield being there, or?
I don't know. I know that, Fort Duffield, I know why Fort Duffield was put where it was put. It was put on that top of that hill right here at the, where the confluence of the Salt River and the Ohio River, to protect Sherman's supply lines as the Union Army moved south. And so they took that property for that purpose. And it basically became U.S. government property from that point. It was abandoned for a while and not used. And then when Fort Knox was created, it was part of Fort Knox. So I don't know if I really don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg there. As far as, if they put Fort Knox there because Fort Duffield was there, or Fort Duffield just happened to be there when Fort Knox was created. And I don't know why military bases are always put in all of the places that they're put. I know sometimes, based on the mission of the fort, they might have a strategic reason for putting them in certain areas. But, Kentucky, this part of Kentucky has a lot of cave systems. It has rivers. It has rail lines. It's pretty central to the United States, to the biggest part of the population in the United States. You can travel pretty easily to probably 75% of the U.S. population from right here in this area.
Well, yeah. I mean, and you got to think wasn't that partially why Duffield was created, because of the river offshoot being right there?
Yeah. Well, that was where the supply lines were. The Louisville and Nashville Turnpike ran right through Fort Knox, and that was basically a stagecoach line that became the basis for Highway 31W, which, when the highway system was created, Highway 31W was one of the major north-south thoroughfares in the country, kind of equivalent to Route 66 running east and west. 31W was the north-south version of that, basically. And so, Fort Duffield was put here to protect those means of transportation, river and the stagecoach line there.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And I mean, there's just something about that area. And that's why I asked about Fort Knox, because I mean, it just is such a high vibrational area. And you just wonder if that was something that was, even if it wasn't consciously them deciding that, that is something drew them to create that base over there. Why don't we talk a little bit about what you have going on over at Fort Duffield? One of the things I feel like I want to do, and anyone's interested, I'd love to create like a Pair Friends event that takes people. You don't have to be from Minnesota, but if you're interested, let me know. We put together and we could talk with Denise and Ernie about creating an event in 2024. If there's space, I don't know of how busy you all are getting out there.
Well, we're getting a lot more interest. We just started doing. I think we hosted our first investigation in early July at Fort Duffield, and so being a new location took a while to get the ball rolling. But the interest has really picked up. We've gotten some great evidence out of there. A lot of people have had some amazing experiences. So it's becoming a place that people are putting on their calendars for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And we are starting to take bookings for next year, but we're still pretty open. It was still very open, really. But we have filled in a few spots for next year. And we'd love to have you do an event there. But we do a few public events. We're going to try to do about one per month once the weather starts to turn around the end of March next year. We'll start scheduling about one public event a month for the rest of the warm season. And we call those spirits, squatches, and stories around the campfire.
Mm-hmm.
And we just, we have a cookout. We sit around and talk around the campfire. We usually have Greg Yost, Squatch Man, up there to talk about Bigfoot.
Right.
And everyone is welcome to investigate. Doing one per month. I said about one per month. One every month and a half or so, maybe 2 months.
I'm curious if the next time, that was what people on the radio have no idea about, because Ernie doesn't realize this is also a radio show. And that's fine.
I'm sorry.
That what he does, what's going on here is that Denise is letting Ernie know that he's wrong yet again. I am curious if Ernie, if next time I have you on, is it easier if I also have a marriage counselor on as well?
That might help.
Okay.
That might help.
We can figure something out, I'm sure.
That might help.
Yeah.
But anyway, we do public events up there.
Just not once a month. Just not once a month.
Yeah, just not once a month. We do them every now and then. And folks love those. I mean, everyone that's come to one has expressed an interest in coming back for another one. And a lot of folks have come back for multiple. And we always say that folks are free to go investigate and explore the fort, but usually they wind up sitting around the campfire saying, no, tell us some more stories. And so we just keep talking.
Yeah.
And but then we also offer private investigations at the fort. Those are $400 for up to 10 people. It gives you 12 hours at the fort. And we give you a tour and tell you the paranormal stories of the place, and then cut you loose and lock you in where you're undisturbed by any outsiders.
Yep.
And you got it all to yourself. And those are going pretty well. They're really starting to pick up momentum, and we're getting a lot more booked. So really excited about the future up there.
What I would like to do, and we should talk about this, and if you don't like the idea, don't say it on the air. Just tell me afterwards. Just act like you like it when being on the air.
Okay.
It's radio magic, and
Okay.
we're trying to get a Marconi over here.
Okay.
We're not. But it'd be fun to actually have an event up there, and it'd also be fun to do one of these shows from there live.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
not, because we may not get internet up there, to be honest. But
folks have been able to do lives from up there. There've been a few people up there that have been able to do a live stream on Facebook or whatever from up there. So we could probably make it work.
Yeah, let's talk about that. But folks, if you would like us, Pair Friends Events is my event company for paranormal. you'd like us to, if you're interested in us putting something together, send me a note. Let me know, and then we'll talk to Ernie and Denise and see what we can make work. Send me a note, and once again, not necessarily Minnesota either. Anyone who's just interested, we can talk about making it work. What else do you have going on, Ernie? There's some other stuff happening.
Well, as a lot of folks know, Denise and I recently moved into the Ditto House Inn here in West Point, which you've been to.
Yep.
It is, if you Google it, you might see where it is called by some the most haunted house in Kentucky. And we have had multiple experiences here of all types. And of course, with us being part of the paranormal community, all of our paranormal friends are like, when are you going to open it to investigations?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer to that is not yet.
Yep.
But we have decided, because of all the interest and all the activity, we do want to share the place with people. I mean, as you know, we invite people to come and stay anytime,
yep.
In small groups. But we have decided to do a raffle for a one night only event. It's called Dinner and a Ghost, and it is going to be from 5 p.m. on one evening, and a negotiated date between the winner and us. From 5 p.m. until 11 a.m. the next morning, we're going to feed you dinner, show you around the house, investigate. You get to stay here at the house, experience Denise correcting me and berating me.
It's different live. It really is.
It really is.
It's harsher in some ways.
Yeah, but a lot more fun to watch, apparently.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it, if I'm not mistaken.
But we're selling raffle tickets for that.
Yeah.
We're going to get up the next morning. I'm going to fix some biscuits and gravy and maybe some country ham or bacon or something, and
none of which was made when I was
there. The door.
Yeah, none of that was made when I was there, but okay, that's cool. Granted, we stayed up till like 6 every night. So
right. So by the time we woke up, we went to get steak. That's just how it worked.
That's true. We went, or Mexican.
Right.
Or Mexican.
So we offered this raffle, and it all sounded great. Well, then last week Denise decided to sweeten the pot, and she said, also, for the winner of the raffle, we're going to take $100 off of an investigation at Fort Duffield. So your $400 investigation is now only $300. If you buy a raffle ticket, you're lucky enough to win. You get the Dinner and a Ghost here at the Ditto House, plus $100 off at Fort Duffield. And we thought, well, that's great. Well, then Brad Webb of Cracked Skull Paranormal chimed in, and he said, I'll make it even better. He's going to custom make some Ditto House REM pods and throw those in, along with a yes/no box. So you're going to get a couple of mini REMs from Cracked Skull Paranormal, a yes/no box from Cracked Skull Paranormal. All this custom made Ditto House in. It's going to have a little Ditto House logo on it. And $100 off an investigation at Fort Duffield, plus, 18 hours hanging out with me. That's going to be awesome.
Well, it can't be all good, I guess. So how do people get into this raffle? Because you've talked about literally everything else, but you have not yet talked about how can people get into this raffle.
Well, you can message me, Ernie Pack on Facebook, and I've put my phone number out there on the ads for this. You could call me or text me at 502-376-7240. That's 502-376-7240. Wow. And I will hook you up with tickets, and I'll send you a picture of them. So you see that you got your name on some tickets. We'll put them in the pot, and then we're going to do the drawing live on Facebook on December 2nd. So we're selling tickets between now and December 1st.
And as we're running out of time here, how much are tickets?
Tickets are $20 each.
Okay. All right. That sounds amazing, folks.
The more you buy, the better your chance to win. Of course.
Imagine that. That
Yeah.
sounds absolutely perfect.
I just thought of that.
Yeah, no, you're I think you're onto something there. And as our lottery people here in the Twin Cities would say, you don't win if you don't play. So there's that too. Ernie, we're running out of time here. Thank you so much. And folks, please take part in the raffle. Reach out if you need anything from him or want to know more information about Fort Duffield. Go to Hauntings at Fort Duffield on Facebook. Like the page, please. Ernie Pack, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's always good being here, Greg. Appreciate you having me.
I really do appreciate it. Tomorrow night, we're going to have Reverend Brianna Lee. We're talking about interfaith exorcisms. Everyone, have a great night.
The Tom Hartman Show. Now, that's Smart Radio, AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis.